Good afternoon, guys. Today I'm going to do a video where I talk over the footage I took on my iPhone at Six Flags Great Adventure. It's located in Jackson, New Jersey. I'm going to talk over the videos I took on the phone and just do like a video style like the face rip off like it does. But I show my face in the camera, so I don't mind that part. But let me know in the comment section what do you guys think is your favorite roller coaster at Six Flags Great Adventure. I'm curious to see what you guys think because mine's is maybe a hot take apparently according to other coaster enthusiasts I spoke to. The first thing I want to mention, the park was actually kind of hot outside in New Jersey for being the March 29th. It was 80 degrees outside for being March 29th. And I think that made it have more crowds than they anticipated because of that, but it was pretty nice outside that day. So as soon as I got inside the park, got past security and checked into the park with the barcode on my phone, I went straight to the Flash Vertical Velocity. They have an 11 o'clock pass holder preview for that. And it's not like Disney's queues to Six Flags. It's more like the SeaWorld and Busch Gardens queues. There's no like decorations or anything. The only queue that actually I'll talk about when I get to that point, but the queues are, it's like SeaWorld and Universal that just don't have anything in the queue. Little to none demon, but they're known for having good coasters like SeaWorld and Busch Gardens are. But Flash queue was kind of decent. It kind of reminded me of going on Hulk because it had like the same, like a voice talking around when you're in the queue saying, experiment in the Flash, or something like that. And it kind of reminded me a little bit of the Hulk, how they had to talk about how the gamma is on the Hulk when you're in the queue. But the queue was no theme into it. I didn't get on video since they put my phone in the locker. They made me put my phone in the locker before that, but there was Flash walking around in the queue area, giving everyone pounds and high fives. And I ended up joking around with him saying, oh, I saw the Joker over there. And he just said, I'll be back in a second. And then he did a fake sprint thing. It was kind of a cool moment. And then while I was waiting online for Flash, I was next to go in the station area, or like the next like 3 people to go in the station area, and it broke down. It looks like it didn't make it, when I returned back, it didn't fully make it back to the area it needs to be to clear the block station. So that ended up taking like a half an hour for them to fix it. But it's opening day for that ride, so there's the way that the roller coasters are made nowadays, I'm not surprised I did that opening day. But then like in half an hour after that I got on it, that thing was phenomenal. We need more like drilled Vekoma coasters in America. We definitely need it. It was not too intense. My favorite moment probably was the backwards double hill and then doing the inverted stall backwards. That was my second favorite moment. But we need more Vekoma next gen roller coasters that are drill related, like the Flash Vertical Velocity in the United States, honestly. I'm so jealous of Europe right now for having like the Lodge coaster. I'm just so jealous of them. So after I got off of Flash, I was trying to head to the Joker. This is my coworker Christian. He bragged nonstop how good the Joker is. And I never done 4D spin coaster, so I was like, screw it, I'll do it. It sounded like something fun anyway for me. I always went to ride X2, which is the similar spin coaster like that. Like I've been spin coaster, but not like the 4D spin coaster like that is. So I was like, screw it, I'll do it while I'm here. Fortunately, when I was like, there's 5 people away from me from going on the car, it broke down and they evacuated the queue. So fortunately, I did not get to ride that day since it was down for the rest of the day. But I was like, oh, my first 4D spin. So I guess I'm gonna save that for X2 or another 4D spin SNS coaster like that. So after that, I went to the Skull Mountain, which I actually have a lot to say about Skull Mountain. I have a lot to say about that ride. First of all, it's supposed to be an enclosed roller coaster. And normally enclosed roller coasters are in the dark. And it has like some type of soundtrack playing or something while you're riding it. My biggest complaint is it's in like in a warehouse building where the roller coaster is, and the garage was open when I was riding it, or when it was slightly open. So it was not like completely dark like Space Mountain is. So, and I feel like it should have like an onboard audio or like a music playing around when you're riding it. It'll be so much more better. Or even having like flashing lights in there would just make that ride so much better. But they allowed light to come in and it kind of made the ride worse, I feel like. I love like those dark coasters that they seem like they go faster when they're in the dark than the light coming in. So I think that's one of the coasters that would be better. And the sad part, it's from one of my favorite manufacturers, Intamin. Yeah, Intamin is one of my favorite coaster manufacturers. That's the sad part about it. But I'm like, really? Why the lights on? It's kind of ruined the ride experience. And the person that was clicking the buttons and operating the ride, I didn't remember reading her name, but every time she dispatched train, she was like, bye-bye, like the TikTok things. I was like, that kind of made it funny, but if I feel like that ride should be in complete dark and have like a soundtrack going on, I just wasn't that impressed with it, honestly. I felt like it would be better in the dark with a soundtrack or even having lights on. It wasn't even intense. It's more of a family coaster, but still, this will be better that way. So after the Skull Mountain, I decided to take my dad on Nitro, since he'd never been on a hyper coaster before. He's never been on a hyper coaster, and this would be my second ever hyper coaster. And at that point, I realized I was sitting on 48 coaster credits. So I was trying to think, what should I make my 50th coaster credit? But Nitro is, well, I'll show you how long the chain lift is before I say anything about Nitro.
Yeah, it is. What? It's a long track. Yeah. Yeah. But you said you're fine on roller coasters though.
Oh, I'm alright, yeah.
Wow, this is high.
So Nitro is sitting at 230 feet. This is like the biggest roller coaster I rode in like almost since I rode King of Ka, honestly. Yeah. Since I rode King of Ka last time in 2010, I believe. But Nitro is the biggest roller coaster I rode since King of Ka. Since Iron Gwazi is 205 feet and I think Mako is like 205 feet also. Or actually no, Gwazi is bigger than Mako, but it's sitting at 230 feet tall. I'm like, holy moly, this is actually bigger than Mako. And the reason why I wanted to go on Nitro specifically because I'm hearing that it's either better than Mako, it's just as good as Mako, or sucks. So I want to see what section and why I fit in that category. And I actually liked it better than Mako, honestly. The airtime was insane, and this was a good ride. I enjoyed all hyper coasters, I think, at this point. You know, that was my second ever hyper coaster. I think I enjoy all hyper coasters at this moment. And we'll be going to Six Flags Over Georgia, the Goliath, to see how good that hyper coaster, because that's the other one that everyone raves about. But I'm kind of excited that I got to ride it. I actually loved it. The airtime was insane. I got back row. I'm actually surprised how big the train is because compared to SeaWorld's or Orlando's Mako, that hyper, it's only like 4 rows per thing. And that thing had like 8 rows. The capacity was very, very good on that ride. They did a good job operating that ride. Well, that's a high capacity ride in general. I remember that SeaWorld, it was a high capacity ride with a shorter train. But that was actually a very, very, very good coaster. It's not my favorite at the park, but it's a pretty good coaster. Yeah, after Nitro, I actually ran into the Batmobile area in the park, and I thought that was pretty cool, being a Batman, or a superhero nerd in general, honestly. So that's part that I thought was pretty cool. After that, I decided to go on a dark night by myself, just because I haven't been on a Wild Mouse coaster in a while. And well, last time I went on one was when I lived in New York, and it was the Wild Mouse they had at Rye Playland. Shout out to that park. I can't wait to go revisit that park eventually. Maybe next year I'll revisit that one. But I know right now I'm trying to do more Six Flags parks to visit. Like eventually my goal is to go to every single Six Flags. That's my current goal. But the Wild Mouse, ooh, I used to love Wild Mouses when I was a kid. Wild Mouses are not the same anymore when you grow up. On March 27th, I recently turned 30 years old. And just like when you get older, the Wild Mouses don't do the trick anymore, I feel like. But I heard this one was probably the worst of the worst Wild Mouses in general, so I don't know. I don't like Wild Mouses like I used to, I guess. The one thing I do got to say good about this Wild Mouse, they do have like good zooming around it. Like they show like the Joker things, they have like lights in there. I didn't bring my phone in with the queue, but the queue was actually very heavily themed on like the other coasters they have there. But I don't think I could do that type of coasters anymore, fortunately. Well, I could do it, but I don't think I enjoy them though. So I'm gonna do a coaster I don't enjoy. So during that time period, I could have easily rode the Batman right next to it, and it was only like a 5-minute wait. But decided to skip it because I have a better version of Batman in my backyard named Montu. And everyone's saying this is the worst Batman clone, so I feel like it was an obligated for me to do it. And I'm gonna just say this now because I didn't go walk by Superman, but decided not to do Superman because Manta, it's way bigger than that. This sounds better, and I don't want to go on and that, and it disappoints me. But I do want to go to Six Flags in New England, so I can go on their Superman ride. Their Superman ride's different than this one. It's like an intimate mega coaster, so I want to go there to ride that. After I got off of Dark Knight, I realized I just got done with my 49th credit. So I was trying to think of coasters I want to make my 50th credit, and the options were either Jersey Devil, Batman, Superman, or Medusa. And I actually like the older B&M's Lupin coasters, and I found out Medusa was the first floorless coaster. And I wanted to make Jersey Devil the 50, but it was down, so it's like, you know what, just make the Medusa, since I love my older B&M coasters, and that was the first floorless one, I'll make that number 50. So I'm on Medusa. So Medusa used to be Bizarro, and then before Bizarro it was named Medusa, so they switched names back and forth, but Medusa remind me of Hulk and Kraken had a baby. There's one section on the ride that they had a whole bunch of zero-G stalls or zero-G rolls, and it was just phenomenal. I absolutely loved it. It didn't make my top 10 list, but I love it because I'm just a fan of those older B&Ms. I feel like the older B&Ms are more intense than the newer B&Ms in general. So I love old B&Ms, and that's what that was. I loved it. The lift hill was great. It kind of reminded me of Kumba a little bit also, but it reminded me more of a Hulk, the Incredible Hulk coaster, and Kraken had a baby. That's what it reminded me more of, not the Kumba. Like, it doesn't have like a coaster enthusiast moment that you see like the whole bunch of rolls next to each other like Kumba does. But it was intense and fun. My dad didn't ride it with me, but he saw me on the train. He saw that I had the big smile on my face from riding that because I love my old B&M coasters in general. The older B&Ms are just so much better than the newer ones. Like somehow Montu, which is like almost 30 years old, is smoother than Phoenix Rising, which is only 1 year old. I don't know how that makes sense, but I love my older B&M coasters, and that's what that was, an older B&M. I could ride older B&M models all day long. But this was the first floorless, so I'm excited I was able to do the first floorless, and then I had the floorless near me, which is Kraken. And then what else was the floorless one that I have near me? Sheikra is floorless, but they didn't really open up as floorless. So after Medusa, I wanted a coaster that I had a credit for already, so I didn't count this to my credit list since I already added it. Well, I added it on my credit list before the visit. And that was El Toro, one of my favorite wooden coasters, and I haven't rode a wooden coaster since last time I went to the Great Adventure, actually. So the first thing I want to mention, bringing out the elephant in the room. When I was up to got off the cable lift and then you start turning right a little bit, I saw a track from King the Cop. Six Flags Great Adventure, if you're watching my video, please put that statue with that track. Please make a statue of King the Cop to pay homage. I know what your 2026 project is. It's Spin the Cop, or at least put that in a sign for Spin the Cop, just to pay homage from King Cop even more. So after that part, you could tell some parts of it, they have new track that they added this off season. So I was like, cool. But that thing was running so smooth. My only complaint is the ride operators that staple you into the seat. They're a little bit too aggressive. They pushed down against my ribs, and even the girl that clicked the button said, hey, he's fine. It's the one behind you. And then they still pushed me and hurt my back somehow. Then they pushed it so hard down on my dad that his back was hurting him till like yesterday. But the ride itself was just amazing. It's definitely the best wooden coaster in the whole entire world, in my opinion. But I know Intimate's gonna fully retrack it, that they have a contract with Intimate to fully retract it, so I'm so excited for that. That's gonna start next year, and it's like a 4-year plan that they're gonna do a little bit every year. Before it was the Six Flags Great Adventure retracting it themselves, but now it's Intimate doing it next year, which is very, very exciting. But this is gonna be one hell of a retrack once it's all done. It was running so smooth, and since it was 80 degrees out, it just was going like flying for so quick. I know normally in the beginning season, according to the videos I saw of Hollywood Studios, it normally runs slower than this, but since it was 80 degrees out, it was running so fast. So I'm like glad it was that hot, so I could experience this like amazing El Toro ride, which I absolutely loved in general. But I wouldn't mind if they had to, if like 20 years or like 10 more years after the retrack stops working or the retrack's not as good, if the RMC kind of does something with that. RMC, please make an iBox out of that once it's past its lifespan. Please, RMC, Six Flags and RMC, please work together again. I know the Cedar Fair had the best experience with you, but please work together again so you could make a El Toro RMC model, which I know will be even more insane than El Toro. So after El Toro, I made my way to Jersey Devil. And Jersey Devil, oh yeah, I have a lot to say about Jersey Devil. It's not bad, it's good. Ooh. So Jersey Devil is the park's RMC Raptor coaster. And this is my second ever RMC, my first ever Raptor. And Raptor means single rail. First thing I have to say, the seats are so freaking comfortable on that thing. There's plenty of room for anyone to fit, no matter how big you are. So I absolutely like that factor in general. Then the second thing is, that thing flies. That thing effing flies. I love that thing. That thing just freaking flies. It goes so fast. And I found out after I rode it, it was the tallest and fastest Raptor. So which made me like even more excited that I was able to ride it. But that was just amazing. After that, I knew I love RMC for good because RMC cannot make a bad coaster after my experience in that coaster. So that's when I found out I really love RMC. Since it was my second one, so the Arangazi was just a fluke. But I really loved it, how fast it flies. The elements are very, very good. The chain lift was kind of weird. It was like it wasn't even a chain lift. It was like a weird tire lift. Just because it was a single rail. But I love that Raptor specifically. I'm not sure if I like the other ones, but that Raptor I love. Since it was 80 degrees out, sure that has the reason why I was flying. But at the end of the day, I decided that would be my new #1 coaster, Jersey Devil. The Jersey Devil ended up being my #1 coaster. So my new rankings are the Jersey Devil 1, Velocicoaster 2, and number 3 is Arangazi. But I was surprised I was able to get that to my #1. It was my first Raptor. I know according to what other coaster duty says, RMC does not make a bad coaster. And according to what I heard from the other coaster duties I spoke to about making that my #1, that is a very, very, very hot take apparently. Apparently that's a very hot take, saying that Raptors are better than Velocicoaster. But for me, I just had a blast on it. I got near the back of the train, so just intense in general because of that. But I love that Raptor. But thank you for watching that video. If you like more coaster content, or if you like more Six Flags content, please make sure you like the video and subscribe to my channel. See you in the next video, and peace